Welcome to Retnuh Healthcare Services and Training Center Personal Fitness Training Services video. In this video today, we will discuss some topics of interest. One is running versus walking. Which is better? Is running better than walking? Another topic of discussion is indoors versus outdoors. Is exercising inside better for you than exercising outside? A third topic is time versus distance. Does it matter if you're exercising for a long period of time, or which is better, that you ran longer and farther? First, let's discuss running versus walking. Which is better for you? Is it better for you to run or is it better for you to walk when you're doing your exercises? I actually developed my own personal run walk method by accident. One day when I was running, I got tired, so I stopped and I started to walk. I was determined that I was doing too much, so then I decided to walk the rest of the way because I felt as if walking, at least I was still moving. Then I decided to incorporate a walk into my routine. So I started breaking up my walk run into running for a few minutes and then walking for a few minutes. Some days it became more walking than running. Other days, of course, I did what I was supposed to do. I later learned that it became famous from some athlete made it famous, which I think is quite interesting how something that everyone does all the time all of a sudden becomes famous when someone else decides that they want to put their name on it. People have been walking and running ever since people had legs. And people have been running and stopped running and walked whenever they felt fatigue, whenever they felt a cramp, or whenever they just felt like stop running and start walking. So it's not a new concept, but it's amazing to me how someone wants to put their name on it and make it famous. So run walk is something that you can do if you um all of a sudden begin to feel fatigue or catch a cramp or decide that you don't want to run anymore. You can incorporate it into your exercise routine. I later found out that it was actually okay to do that and very acceptable. A lot of experts actually recommend that you do that, especially if you are a new runner. They want you to start off slow. So they will often say, do a run walk or do a walk, and then maybe at the end started adding in some jogging. Of course, there are benefits to running and there are benefits to walking. Some of the benefits to running is that running is less time. Okay, you can cover a further a greater amount of distance in a short amount of time. But running also is associated with more injuries. So that's something you have to take in consideration. Where walking is great. It's low impact enough, and you can start out slow and then you can build up to your desired speed. So there are benefits to running and walking. So when the question comes up, is it better to run or is it better to walk? There's really no correct answer because they're equally beneficial depending on what the individual person is looking for. If you have a shorter amount of time, obviously you want to get the most impactful workout you can in a short amount of time, which may require you to run instead of walk so you can cover more ground. But I find that a run walk works better for me because I don't get tired as fast, and the walk allows me to cool down, then I can run again. So I always run for a few minutes, then I walk for a few minutes, then I'll run again for a few minutes. Outside versus inside. Now, this one is a big topic because there are a lot of people that think it's best to run outside. Now, there are great benefits to working out in the fresh air. You get the vitamin D that you need for your body and your bones, and you get what I call vitamin O, good old oxygen. You're breathing in some fresh air. So, there are benefits to working outside versus working inside. However, they're equally as important, they're equally as beneficial. So there's no right or wrong answer with that either. Some of the downsides to exercising outside is air quality and weather. Air quality may affect people who suffer from allergies. Air quality may affect people living in high, dense, populated areas that have a lot of pollution. So that's something you need to take into consideration when you decide to choose outside versus indoors. The weather can be a problem as well. The weather, if it is too warm or too hot, then you can risk heat related injuries such as a heat stroke or heat exhaustion. If it's too cold, and you could suffer from hypothermia or other cold related injuries. But there's no correct answer to work outside or to work inside. I prefer in the summertime, obviously, to work out outside because the weather's nice. Then I feel like I can build up a sweat. And like I stated before, the air is, to me, the air, to breathe in the fresh air is better than being in the confined areas. But it's up to the individual. If you live in a neighborhood where it's safe and you can work out outside and you don't have a lot of traffic or being chased by dogs or running, dodging bullets, gunfire, then sure, outside would be a great choice for you. Inside becomes beneficial on those days when we talked about the weather. If it is too hot outside to exercise, then inside a gym or inside of your own home would be ideal. If it is too cold to work out outside or if it's raining, then indoors, of course, would be the better choice. But as far as which one is better, they're equally as good. Next, we want to talk about time versus distance. I sort of brushed up on it a little bit when I was talking about running versus walking. Obviously, if you run and you're spending less time, you're covering more distance. But which is more important? They are equally as important. If you are a long distance runner or someone who runs track, you're in a competition, then your time is going to be important because you're trying to beat the other person. So you're focusing on your time. But when you're exercising for yourself, you're not in a hurry. You're not up against nobody else but yourself. So your time is not going to be as important as distance sometimes. Sometimes distance is not as important, depending on what kind of exercise you're doing. If I say that I ran a mile and a half, you may say, oh, that is great. But if I say, well, it took me 2 hours to do it, then you will say, well, that's not so great. So it depends on the exercise. I use time, and one of the reasons why I use time is because I only have a little bit of time. I set aside a certain amount of time that I want to dedicate to my fitness routine, and when that time is up, I'm done, regardless of the distance that I have traveled or in regardless of the reps that I have done. So if I say that I've dedicated 45 minutes outdoor run walk, then in 45 minutes, I'm done because that's all the time that I have. And I don't consider the distance because I'm not going to measure the distance anyway. And I'm not going to correct the distance if I fall short. So, say for instance that my goal is to walk walk or run 6 to 9 miles each day. Considering the fact that it should take me 11 minutes to do a 1 mile, 11 to 15 minutes to do a run walk for 1 mile. If I'm outside for 45 minutes and I haven't done 6 to 9 miles for that day, then I'll just document what I have achieved. I won't look down and say, oh no, I need to go another half a mile because I don't have the time because I'm out of time. So my time versus distance only matters if I have something else to do that's going to take my time away from what I something else that I have planned or some other obligation that I have. But it doesn't matter because your body is not preoccupied with the time. Your body is preoccupied with what activity you are doing. So you can stay outside, like I said before, for 2 hours. But if you're not really getting anything accomplished, then it's a moot point. So you can stay outside for a short amount of time or exercise for a short amount of time. But if you're getting a lot done during that short amount of time, then in this instance, your time is more beneficial than your distance. So when people are thinking about time and distance, a lot of people like to brag about their distance, but your body is not concerned about neither one of those. Your body is concerned about exactly what are you doing during that time. If you walked 8 miles, but it took you 2 days, then there's no benefit. If you are exercising for 45 minutes, but you ran the entire 45 minutes, then your time is more important than your distance. So I hope that clears it up some or shed some light on the confusion about time versus distance. It depends on what exercise you're doing, how intense it is, and what how much your personal life affects what's going on. There's no need to set a distance if you don't have the time, correct? And you can set a time, but your time will be your distance. So whatever time you end, and that whatever distance you have at the end of your time, then that will be your distance for today. So I hope that helps a little bit. Some of the takeaways from today, or some additional tips, I guess I should say, that to make sure, regardless of whatever exercise routine or activity you decide to incorporate into your daily routine, just to make sure that you consult your physician before starting a new exercise. Make sure you start out slow and then build up to the tolerance that you desire. Make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes and clothing. Stay hydrated with water or sports drinks before, during, and after your workout. Make sure you pick a routine and stick with that routine. I find that that works out better for me when I am consistent with what I'm doing. And the use of technology is very beneficial because you can use it as your fitness tracker and it can help you keep track of what you're doing and also help you document your success. And there's nothing that beats that after workout glow that you get after you know you put in your time. It's now the end of the day and you can get in the elevator, get in the car, and get home. Remember to hydrate well after each workout. Thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoyed this little snippet. If you have any questions or concerns, you can contact me, or you can email me, or you can call me. Thank you.